Well, we're back in the shop today. Last time we were out here, we started putting all of our check valves and setting up the fuel injection system. The next thing I actually wanted to work on was getting the fuel cell mounted so we can start ordering up hoses and fittings to plumb up the entire fuel injection system. So I decided to change the fuel cell on this car and go with something a little bit bigger. So we're going to go with what we've got here that I purchased. It's a 4.5 gallon fuel cell, kind of a traditional. Probably a lot of you have something just like this in your car. But why did I go with this one? I went with one from Rhodes Race Cars, and the reason I did was this right here, this cap. I wanted the cap that wasn't recessed. Obviously, us sand drag racers, we fight things all the time because of the environment we race in. And if you use those traditional flush mounted caps, you'll know, especially if you've ever raced up at the track in Michigan, or if you've raced at the gravel pits at Cleves, you'll end up getting a lot of like little bits of sand or little pebbles or whatever in that flush mount cap that you've got to clean out after every pass. So I went with this one just for that reason. So I like it. Pretty nice looking piece. So we're gonna go with that. One thing I did have to do is it had the little feet on the side to mount it. I know some of them, they have them in the front, some of them are on the side. Well, this one I really like the cap, so I went with that, but the feet were on the side. And unfortunately, that was gonna be in the way to mount it in this car. So we're gonna have to put some new mounts on it. You can see here, we're kind of gonna, kind of put it like that, kind of down here in this tray. It should look pretty good, and it should be a little better. The other fuel cell was pretty small, only 2.5 gallons or so. This one, I believe, 4.5 gallons. So that should help if we want to drive through the pits or through the staging lanes or whatever. So I think that should be a little better. So that's what we're going to start working on today, is getting this mounted up. Okay, so I didn't really film a whole lot of what I was doing, but I did get some new mounting tabs welded onto the tank. Didn't go through any of that process, but just used some aluminum angle and got a few holes drilled here, so that should work pretty nice. And then what we've got on the back of the tank is a -12 outlet, and that'll feed the fuel injection pump. And then your standard that usually comes with these tanks, 2 -8 outlet fittings. So I'll use one of those. I have a primer on the car, so I'll just feed an electric fuel pump with that, so we can prime the engine so it's self-starting. You don't have to prime it with a squirt bottle or anything like that. So we'll use that. We'll cap the other one off, and that should work pretty nice. So I just gotta get some fittings made up to go from the outlet of the tank over here to the inlet of the pump. And same right here, we're gonna go from the outlet of the tank over to the inlet of this little black Holley electric pump. So that should work good. All right, so I didn't shoot a lot of video of all of the plumbing and a lot of the work that I've been doing on this. Honestly, it's been a while. I just kind of been hit or miss on working out here. But anyway, I kind of show you where I'm at right now. I think, as I mentioned, I needed to plumb everything up, and that's pretty much what I've done so far. So last video, I showed you I had the fuel cell mounted. We went through and I showed you some of the fittings and things I'd ordered. Well, there's been a whole lot more boxes show up. We got the radiator kind of mounted here, as you can see, just kind of something really simple. But yeah, we've done all of, I think about 99% of the plumbing is probably done now. So we've got the fuel injection plumbed up, if you remember from the previous video where we had gone through all of the check valves and reset everything. Got the fuel lines ran, got radiator lines ran. So everything's pretty much done. I still have to do the primer system. I have to finish up the vacuum pump. But yeah, everything else. I also decided that I went with and put brand new cables on everything. Again, I'm gonna have my daughters driving this car. So yeah, we got nice new fuel shutoff cable here. It works great, no bind whatsoever. Same with the throttle cable. It's doing really well. So yeah, got a lot of work done that I didn't film. I apologize for that, but probably a lot of this stuff is stuff that everybody knows how to do anyway, so not too big a deal. Got to get the fan on with the fan shroud. That's over in a box over here. But pretty much we're about, I'd say on the front of this car, we're probably 99% done. I did order some new headers too. I hated the headers that go with these heads. At least for this car, they fit the Jeep that it used to be in, so they stuck way out here and look silly, and I really get picky about stuff and the way things look sometimes, so I went ahead and ordered up a new set of headers. I forgot though that I will have to clearance them. For whatever reason, these things are right in the way of the spark plug, so you can get a spark plug in there but not get a wrench or a socket on it, so that kind of sucks. So I'll have to go in and do some cutting and grinding. So these are Schoenfeld headers. A lot of people over the years, you're always looking for headers for these Allards and things like that. I've bought these things before. They're sprint car headers, and they're also called dyno headers because a lot of people use them on a dyno. They're super cheap. They work good. They're super cheap. They last. Previous set lasted for a long time on this car that were on the other heads. Finally had to weld a hole up in one of them, but other than that, they work really good, and they are super cheap and they fit nice. So these are just 2-inch that fit these Brodix 18-degree heads. So yeah, anyway, we'll get back at it. Keep working here. I think the next thing I need to do is plumb up the primer. We just got a little electric Holley pump down here, just an old Holley black pump or something. And I just need to run a small line up to it so that we can prime the car to start it with. That way you're not using a squeeze bottle. So anyway, we'll get that done next. All right, so last thing I got to do, I hope, is mount up the wheels and tires to this. So I've got the wheels over here, sitting on a bucket, and let's go see if we can't find some tires. I apologize, my shop is an absolute disaster. Happens every time I redo a car. But here's what we got. Okay, so yeah, we got our new tires here that we ordered last year because we knew we were going to do this over the winter. They are 16 Super Scoops on 33.5 by 16.5 casings, 16-inch wheel. So yeah, as you can see, and I'll show you if you want to kind of zoom in. I can kind of go over what you're going to see when you order a new set of tires, or if you buy somebody's tires used. You can learn a little bit about them just by what you see on the side. So the first number here, 107 plus, that's going to be the rollout that they measured when they built the tires, when they were measured up. So that's 107-inch plus circumference. So then these are 16 Super Scoops. They're staggered, and then they'll write the casing size on them. So these, like I said, these are 33.5, 16.5, 16s. And then the dealer name is always here, MKE01, that's me. For those of you who may not know, I am one of the bigger Scat Track dealers in the country for the big tires. So, been doing that for about 12 or 13 years now. Stop it. So, I'm going to teach you guys a little trick if you're not aware. Of course, these are used drag slicks to start with. And even when they're new drag slicks, they usually will have slow leaks in them. And then, they become a used drag slick, then they get buffed, and then they get the paddles vulcanized on. So here's your trick to try to help prevent leaks and slow down leaks when you first mount these up. Dawn dish soap. So the big thing you want to do is just spray it liberally into the tire.
And I just kind of coat it in there everywhere. And then you just kind of rub it in with a rag and do the entire inside surface of the tire. Okay, now you can kind of see that we've got a lot of dish soap in there. You can kind of see how shiny it is, but we've put a lot in there. I use this big bottle. You can see how much I used out of it. Sometimes I'll get almost a half a bottle on each tire out of the bigger ones, but anyway, we'll try that.
Okay, so I skipped a lot, didn't get a lot filmed while I was finishing everything up on this car, but I'll go ahead and go through everything real quick. I know this has been a long time coming since the last videos, a lot of stuff happening, so didn't get a chance to video everything and didn't get a chance to edit videos and put something up, but we'll go ahead and go through it. I'll share with you everything that we did with the car. So this is it. Again, kind of started from the front. We removed the old, very small, I had a transmission cooler in for a radiator because we didn't run the car back to back to back a lot. So we're trying to set up for in case that happens. So I got a bigger fuel cell, got this CSF radiator. I think it's like made for import cars, but it really fits this altered well. Looks pretty good too, nice polished. So I'm really happy with how that turned out. And then, as I said, I pretty much replumbed everything. Got a vacuum pump on the car. This is a Star Racing one that I bought used many years ago. And that actually fits real nice and works good. We got the, like I said, we did the fuel injection, redid all the small lines on the fuel injection, and got that done. Ended up with some new headers because I didn't like the old ones. They stuck out too far, so we got those. I had to go in and clearance for spark plug boots, but other than that, they fit really nice. They're Schoenfelds, like I said. And then pretty much just put everything else back together. We got the new tires on the car, and as you can see, they've actually got dirt on them. So spoiler alert, this car has been out. I will add the videos of it making passes. We took it to Cleves, and I ran test and tune with it, and then I ran a bracket on Saturday. We just wanted to make sure we got all the bugs out of it before we turn it over to the kids. And then really one thing that did happen, and this was my fault, for doing, kind of trying to do videos and share tech advice at the same time. But when I was setting up the fuel injection, if you can remember, I went through and I did the idle bypass, I did the main, and I also did the high speed lean out. And for whatever reason, I left the high speed lean out in my leak checker, and I accidentally grabbed the wrong poppet valve here and screwed it in. So when we were about a week before the race and wanted to get this car fired up, it would start and then quit. And I couldn't keep it running on anything longer than a prime. So it's pretty frustrating. I didn't know what was going on. So I started taking everything apart. And honestly, when I got to the high speed here and I pulled it apart, it didn't look familiar at all. It had a very, very light spring in it. It had like a plastic poppet valve in it. And I was like, this is not right. Well, what I had done was picked up one of the other ones when I was like going through all the jet cans and robbing parts. I ended up grabbing that one and throwing it in. So what was happening was, as soon as the car would start, the spring inside here was so light that it was opening up and it was just returning fuel right back to the tank. So nothing was going up into the barrel valve. So my mistake, took me about an hour to figure it out. Once I figured it out, car fired up, ran great. And really, we had no issues with it at the track. It does seem like with the copper head gaskets on it, it's gonna leak a little water. Found some water in the cylinder a little bit. So I'll have to drain the water each weekend, but that happens with with copper head gaskets, so I'm not too concerned about it yet. We'll see. see how it does going forward, but it doesn't seem like there's anything. The car runs fine. I made some, I think, passes anywhere. I think they were 370 to 374. That's basically what it ran. So again, if you like what you see, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and we are going to try to get some more videos rolled out. I'll try to do them in a little more timely fashion. Again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the next video.